Music matters. Bobby,
What's up, man?
how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
Beautiful studio. Love it.
Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. I never know how to address you. Is it just Bob? Because I always say Bobby from
Sir.
the shed. Sir, Mr. Bobby.
Mr. Bob. No, just Bobby.
I go Bobby from the shed.
No, just Bobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on, bro. Yeah, this one is very exciting to me. I've been a fan of what you do for a while and everything that you've been doing, and just been watching it from afar, and it's really sick because it reminds me of like it's very indicative of like another time. I feel like I'm not from here, but I feel like I've never seen anything like that, like what the shed is. So to explain, I guess to begin, how would you explain the shed to somebody who doesn't know what the shed is?
So the shed is a refurbished wood shop that's made out of aluminum. And we put speakers in there, and it sounds really good.
Yeah.
And
And now it's a venue.
Yeah. No, now it's like, now it's a venue. That's what's weird, is that like that transition sort of like happened like 6 months ago or something.
Yeah.
Or like, I
Oh,
don't know.
really?
Maybe like a year where people like were starting to consider it like a venue instead of like a backyard show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, when you like, because this is probably an interesting angle of the shed or something like that, right? Because it's like, the essence of it is super DIY. Like it's super like do it yourself, very like, house show kind of vibes, but it's like way more than that. It's like I was saying, it's like DIY with a facelift. It's kind of what it's like.
Yeah.
And when you like get on calls with somebody, like if someone wanted to like sponsor a show, or if someone, another promoter or like a band manager, their booking agent or something, how do you manage to like explain it in like professional terms? Because it is a professional sounding venue. The sound's incredible, it looks incredible, such a good light show, it feels professional, but the essence of it is in a backyard. So how do you like pitch it / describe it to somebody who you want to work with potentially? Like, is it kind of a weird balance?
No, it's not a weird balance. You'd just be surprised at how little questions people ask.
Whoa.
So it's like, I just, I say what it is. It's a 300 cap DIY venue, like all ages venue in Los Angeles. And that's it. So, like, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go out of my way and say, like,
It's my backyard.
yeah, my neighbors will get mad at me, but that's okay. Yeah.
That's so interesting, because I guess like when you put it like that, like there are plenty of spaces in LA and beyond, like that's like what they are. Like it's the same idea as the shed, but it's just like a warehouse. And for whatever reason, there's that implied level of like, this is more of a venue space because we say it's a venue space, but like what even makes it a venue space? Other than the fact that like people just go in there, right? So it's like, I don't know.
We could talk about it, because literally like that's what's really like cool about the shed, is the fact that it's got everything that a good venue needs. Like from the electricity, like you need 220 like volts. We got like 2 different breakers, so each side has its own huge amount of power, because it was a wood shop. So like table saws and like band saws, other saws. I don't know anything about like making wood. That was my dad's thing, but so it's got so much power. We can't blow anything. Anyway, what's it called? So with like, we never lose electricity. There's like vents in it too, to where it's like circulating. And we can talk about carbon dioxide, like poisonings and stuff like that. I don't know if it's poisoning, but like proper ventilation for a venue is like so important.
Yeah.
I never even realized it until like a couple months ago, where it's like, every like real like every serious venue has like these huge vents, right?
Yeah.
And you're like always like, what the fuck? What's going on here? But no, it's just to like circulate the air and stuff. Cause people are breathing.
Because like 300 people jammed in one space can just get sweaty as hell. Like,
dude, sweaty as hell. But also, it's when they breathe in, they're taking the oxygen and then not putting it back out into the air. It's just carbon dioxide.
I've never thought about that.
So, oh, bro, let's dig. Let's go in, because like it literally like kind of freaked me out for a little bit. But so like you hold your breath and you're like dying because there's no oxygen, right? It's just carbon dioxide building up. So imagine that for like if a room is a lung and everybody's breathing it, and then there's just no more oxygen in it. So every time we've been like exhausted at a show, like you just think it's from like running around, like being next to a bunch of like body heat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, man, it's because there's no air like circulating in the place, and it makes you like super lightheaded.
To be honest with you, this sounds really, really stupid, but like I've actually never even considered the fact that like when you breathe something in, you breathe something different out. No, because totally. Like why would I ever consider that in like the practical day-to-day life, you know?
And like I went at like what started this whole rabbit hole was because I saw this article on Reddit that was about how like classrooms and conferences and courthouses have the same thing. Like you get drowsy in classrooms because there's no like fresh air circulating. So it's the same exact concept, but it's just like nobody like puts two and two together.
That's so weird. Yes. Yeah. There's all these like, dude, that's one of those things where it's like one of those things with the human body that like you should know or you should acknowledge. But like I had this like phase where like there was like it was a 2 or 3 week phase like last year where I was just so tired, and I was like, why am I so fucking tired? And then I drink caffeine and it just wouldn't do anything. I would just be so tired the other day, and I was sleeping well. And then I just realized like it was so simple. I just wasn't drinking water. Like I just wasn't drinking enough water.
Yeah.
Like and now whenever I get like that, I just chug a ton of water, and then I feel better within like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so weird. There's so many things like that. Like you just wouldn't. It's like you know them in the back of your head, but you don't acknowledge them until they don't become true anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Are there any other like venue specifications about the shed that like make it that people wouldn't understand or wouldn't think about? Like what makes it a venue? What do you have to do? I guess actually
it's a system.
Yeah, I guess a better question would be like, how did you go about like turning it from a wood shop into a venue? Like what did it used to look like versus what it looks like now?
Oh man, so it's all started with. Sorry, that's too far away.
Thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah. I know you watch podcasts. I was like, move that.
Yeah, put it close to your mouth.
Yeah.
What's it called? Oh yeah. So what started it was me. I would just play acoustic music in there since it's a metal shed. Mm-hmm. So the reverb in there, natural reverb is like just so like hypnotizing, dude. Honestly, it's like the frequencies just hit different. And so I always had in the back of my head, like, this would be amazing to, like, hear a band in. Mm. And so we did that with, like, 2, Harbinger speakers that are just, like, 12-inch monitors, right? Mm-hmm. And then I had these 2 columns from the 70s, these PV columns, with a premixer amp that, like, held, like, maybe, like, 8 channels, like, all quarter-inch, too. Uh-huh. So we did that for, like, the first 3 shows, and then... Yeah, it was a terrible setup.
Who were the bands? Did people come?
Yeah, so the first bands were Maggie Gently and Girlfriend on the Moon. And then for the second show, it was this band called The Habits. Scro is super sick. And then the third show, the third or fourth show, which is the one that was like the real turning point, was we had Honey Revenge play, and then there was like maybe like 70 people in the shed at that point, and like that was like our biggest show, and we were like, oh shit. But at that same show, our sound guy Shay Wolf, he was at that show and then comes up to me afterwards and he's like, yo, that sucked. Like the sound sucked, but like he was like absolutely right. He's like, I can do sound for you. And I was like,
oh wait, so you were doing sound?
No, I don't know how to do sound. Like
who was doing sound at that point?
Nobody at all, dude. Yeah. So we were just kind of like letting it like go, like no.
Letting it run.
Yeah, exactly. No, so Shay was like just finishing school at MI, and he had like all this gear. He had like this whole alto system, which is like sub plus 2 monitors. And then a mixer, and he had like all the cables, all the gear, but he'd never used them before because he like didn't have the space to like have them.
How do you have them? Why do you have them?
Because he's crazy. He's a crazy guy, dude. No, because he knew like he's an amazing guy. Like he's like so focused on like what he wants to do, and he's making like an amazing career out of it. But we started doing it at the same time, and like once Shay came in to the picture, the sound was like, it was incredible. It's like
the sound is really good in the shed. That's
what like he figured out, and there's like so much math that like goes into it. Like he's like taking measurements and stuff like that. So if you ever see a sound person that's busting out the tape measure.
Oh yeah, bro. That's how you know
That's
they're
a real
good.
deal. Yeah, exactly.
How you know a sound person is good is when they start measuring the space between the cymbal and an overhead.
Yeah.
That's always been my marker. I'm like, that's a sound person who like knows what they're doing. When they're like bringing out the tape measure and measure that shit. Yeah.
And I also like pick up on people that can wrap a really good cable. Seeing somebody like wrap a cable, you're like, all right, that dude knows. So that's like
I can't wrap a cable. Dude, my cables, like if you look at the way I wrap my cables, like it's a very non-traditional way. I kind of just like, that's not how you're supposed to wrap cables. My friend David,
I'll help you.
My friend David, whenever he comes down here, he's like, "Why do you wrap your cables like that?" I'm just like, I don't know. It just makes sense in my head. It just like is how it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it took me a minute from just like breaking down and stuff like that.
Was Shay? So you said Shay was going to school at that time?
Yeah, he was going to MI for drumming. He's an amazing drummer.
What's MI?
Musicians Institute.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, my bad. And yeah, so he's the one that really turned like the Shed, and I don't mean this in any pretentious way at all, but it's like into its own instrument to where the like it could sound so bad in there if it wasn't for like the specific like attention and the frequencies that he like plays, because it also like creates a sound mask. And like the Shed, since it's in a backyard and there's neighbors around, I can't just blow up the fucking neighborhood.
No.
You know, I've got to think about like, I have to be so considerate. Like, so we walk around with like decibel meters, and so the law is basically like, you can't go past like 80 decibels 200 yards from a public street. So,
which is like how, like if you were to compare 80 decibels to something, what would that be?
So that's like, man, let me get on my decimal meter. Do you want me?
Yeah, yeah.
Because 70 is like a human, like just like us talking. And then 80 might be like a blender.
Okay.
Going. So yeah, we're at like 53, and then like the peaks are like at 87.
So you can't go past 80?
Like on like a normal street. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So how do you get around it?
Well, like, luckily it's, like, far enough away from the street, but great question. Thanks, Dante.
Yeah.
Like, what's it called? Like, Shay literally figured out, like, the right frequency to where it's 110. That's, like, that's a loud concert. That's a very loud concert. Inside the Shed, and then right outside of it is, like, 86. And then from the, like... then to the street, it's like 70.
How?
So, yeah. I don't know.
That's so
It took
crazy.
forever, dude. Like, it took a minute for us to, like, kind of figure things out. I kind of, like, think in my head, like, I put, like, you know, shop floor, like, rubber mats? Ones with, like, the circles in them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, spongy things? Yeah. I just put those under the bass because the bass was really what rattles. That's the thing you have to like take care of the most, is because like the low end frequencies travel the farthest.
Yeah.
So if you like put rubber underneath the subs, it kind of absorbs it.
Gotcha.
And like blankets and stuff like that too.
So when you met Shay at that third show, why did he buy in so much? How did you get him to buy in? Was he just kind of like really into the idea?
He's really into the idea, and he needed a place to store that gear.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, there's something that me and Mario talk about this a lot. I think there's something that's really like almost like unidentifiably valuable about having a very, very like specific brick and mortar location, right? I think like this studio is like our version of what you have in the Shed. Just in the matter of like, you know, like I think having this space to edit in, having this space to work out of, that's all wonderful and that helps a lot. But I think what really, really matters is bring other people to the space, and that's when they buy in. And to me, I think that's what makes the Shed so easy to like, I don't want to say easy to market, but just like it's such a unique idea. Like it doesn't take convincing. Like the Shed doesn't take convincing at all. I feel like on Instagram, it's really hard to convince a venue. On Instagram, it's hard to convince anything. It's hard to convince a music media company or a musician or whatever. But it's like when you see that band live, or you go to the Shed, or you come to the studio to do an interview, or whatever it is, having that like physical brick and mortar location is such a good way to get people to like buy into whatever you're doing, you know?
Yeah, like quantifies it.
Exactly.
Like, oh, they got their own place?
Yeah. And I think that's something that's interesting too. Like, because I've been to 4 or 5 shows at the Shed, 3, 4, whatever, at the Shed now, and I took one show to be like really bought in on the idea, like just really, really believe in it and think of how sick it was. Granted, I think that first show that I went to was a really special one.
Which one?
The Lily one.
Oh, you were at the Lily one?
That was my first show.
Yeah, that was gnarly. Show. Yeah, that one was fucking gnarly.
Yeah, that was like, it was so insane. But I think after that show, I was so bought in on the idea, and then I've been back 3 or 4 times now, and I've noticed like people coming back. Like I see similar faces at the Shed, and I'm curious if you've thought about this. But I think building a fan base around either a venue or like a promoter or like a booking company, that's a really, really hard thing to do. Really hard. When you're in the business of throwing shows, 95% of the time, all you're doing is trying to rely on the band's pull. You having pull as a promoter or a venue or a booking agency or even talent buyer is so difficult. But that's why I think the Shed is so special. It's because like it has an identity of its own. Like the location has an identity, and that can like double your pull in the sense that people are coming not just for the bands, but they're coming for the Shed, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I hope. That's really like, I don't put too much like focus on that, because I just want it to be nice. Like I want it to be a show that I want to go to and like not have something to complain about. Like, I don't know, like every little detail is like thought about, and like just making sure everybody's like comfortable and the sound is good, and like nobody's trashing the place, or I don't know, just the vibe is like somewhere. It's just really special to have like and it's grown on its own. Like I wouldn't say I've got like much influence over it. Like it's really the people that have been coming through that do network, that end up doing projects together. Like that's the craziest thing, is like seeing the artists like interact with their fans more, because there's no like where else can you go to like a concert and then hang out with the musicians like afterward, just like out and about, you know? And that's really cool to see. Like especially now, like this a lot of people come from like a long distance. Like I'm like, what are you doing here, kind of thing. Like, but like when I like do like talk to them, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're from Winnipeg. I'm like, oh, like they're like, no, we came here for this, and it was like for like Red Leather, you know. So he did his first show at the Shed, and he was like he's like super viral, like has amazing like a lot of fans. What's it called on Instagram? Like a lot of monthly listeners. But not in LA. Like just because like that viral, like those viral moments are everywhere, right? And so it's not like central based. So it's like, I mean, honestly, we could talk about bands to where it's like, they've got like 2,000 followers, but then their like shows are like the biggest fucking shows.
10,000 people pull up to their shows.
Yeah, exactly. And then so it's like
that shit's crazy.
Yeah, and it's so hard to like quantify stuff like that, but. Just to go back to the Red Leather thing, is like people like literally trekked all the way to this like backyard Shed to watch one of their favorite artists perform for the first time. Yeah. And then got to like hang out with them after.
That's so special.
Like that. Yeah, so exactly. Like I think that's cool, but then to that person, like that is like such a moment. And like, that's how I think about like successes of like shows, is like how many moments were in that show. Yeah. To where it was like, holy shit, that was incredible. Wow. Yeah, so you were at the Mastergram show, right? Were you there to see Manners? Like, did you see Manners?
I came right at the end of Manners set.
Oh, right on. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, he was like, lead singer was like screaming, and then, but like away from the mic, and it was just like so fucking raw. Yeah. Like, boom, perfect moment. Like, dude, that was like, oh shit. Wow. Did everybody else feel that? Yeah. So I'm also very unbiased about like the shows. Because like I kind of forget that it's my house. Yeah. Sort of thing.
Which is probably what you want.
Yeah, it's nice. You know, I probably should be like more focused on that. But what's it called? Yeah, there's just those special moments.
And it's really interesting because those moments rival that of a venue show in a very specific way. Because I think when you have those moments at a house show, it's very different than what you feel at the Shed, because I think those moments at a house show are like really rowdy and like, you know, it's just like pure energy, and that's really cool.
That's it, yeah.
And the Shed has that a lot too, but I don't feel like I'm at a house show when I'm at the Shed at all. I really don't feel like that. Like, I feel like I'm at a venue. It feels so different.
Thank you.
You know, it doesn't feel like a house show at all.
Yeah, we all take it very seriously, and like, to go back to Shay, like, Shay's the reason why we're taking it so seriously, is because like his work ethic and like him wanting like to truly be an engineer to like perfect a sound in that space, and like the amount of effort like he goes into making sure that it sounds amazing is like the same exact like energy that I meet with making the best shows possible, organizing everything and making it look super clean. Like,
yeah,
that's his genius, this is my genius. Like, everybody has a genius.
Yeah.
So it's like I let people use like their genius. Like, I don't think about like I'm fortunate enough to like not know anything about sound, and having somebody like right hand person know everything about sound. So I don't even need to think about that. So
yeah,
it's like off my shoulders, so I can focus on my genius.
That's really well said.
Thank you.
As like a leader, I guess, like, cause I mean, you are like, you know, technically like I suppose, like, you know, you are like a leader in this sense, like you like just in the terms of like, you know, like helping people run this with you, you know. How do you like convince people to buy into this? Because I know, because you have another partner as well, right? Like, how big is the
Britt.
Team for the Shed, and how do you guys kind of start building that?
4 core people.
Okay.
Yeah, Patrick, who does the lighting, and like set design, our stage design, and then Britt, who is like the co-owner of the Shed, and she does admin. So she's the more professional, like handles all the money and settlements and stuff like that. So it like leaves me open to just focus on making it. I don't know, like making the shows and making sure that they run smoothly.
How did you meet them?
Oh, so yeah, I met Britt. We started our like music careers at the same time at this sort of like Craigslist management, like artist management thing. Like, it wasn't very real.
What's that?
It was like, I don't know, like Craigslist job postings, and then you're like record label, and then like, you know, like kind of like a like, I don't know, it was just a sleazy fake kind of management company. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I was like 21 at the time, so we met there, and then she started interning at Hopeless, and then like same time I started interning at Epitaph, and then we just sort of like always kind of just like stayed on like the same kind of path. And then so that's Britt. Yeah. How
did you get started in music, like, originally? So you said you interned at Epitaph, but like is that the first thing you did in the industry? And how did you kind of like, what was your journey like in the music industry? Did it sour you to things that feel less genuine than the Shed? Did that play in a role in it? Like, how did you kind of begin and get to the place where you are now?
Yeah, so I started off just like as an intern, like went to college and then got the internship. And
what did you go to college for?
Journalism.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you want to always be in the music industry?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I don't really know why, but like I remember like watching like Chess Records, like the movie. I was like, yo, that's sick as fuck, dude. That's super sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you,
like that, just like
But you graduated, and then how'd you end up at Epitaph?
Oh no, I didn't graduate. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I just like kept interning. And then a like position opened up for a sales coordinator, and I was still in school, but they were like, "Do you want to interview for this?" And like, like I was so lucky to like get it at like I was like 23, and then so I just started working at Epitaph, like doing sales and marketing that side of things. Yeah, man, I don't know what else to like kind of say, but like, you just like keep it going.
Did you have a good experience like in the more traditional side of the music industry?
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Is like starting at an independent label gave me the baseline of like how artists are meant to be treated.
Yeah.
And like just ethically.
Yeah.
It's like so like hands on, and like the artists, and like they're a family, so it's like seeing the way that like Brett literally just did like everything right completely. Like one example is this like metalcore band called The Ghost Inside in like 2016. They were on tour, and their bus crashed, and they were all sleeping in the bunks, and everybody just hit the like thing, and so like one of them lost their legs, like
oh my god,
one of them like they got fucked up, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, we're gonna give them like all their royalties, all their like we're not gonna take a cent out of their music anymore, and like it goes to their recovery and stuff like that. I'm like,
wow,
dude, yeah, that's like,
you don't have to do that. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah,
wow.
No, I don't know like any like other kind of label that would do that, and like that really showed like
his character,
or like just like what's it about, like just in general, you know?
Yeah. That's so true, dude. I think too when you're it's cooler because when you were working at Epitaph, was it smaller than it is now? Because
it's always been like a team of like 20.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
So like relatively small. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. It's so cool to see like smaller boutique labels like that like genuinely do it the right way. Because it's really easy, I think, to become sour to the music industry and just like immediately point to everything being evil and everything being bad and everything being what it is. But it's like it's not all like it doesn't have to be that way, you know. And moments like that make you remember that.
Yeah, there's like people that are treating it as like a job. Like,
yeah,
I think like the best way that I've like ever heard it was like blue collar music jobs.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like Every Time I Die was just like a blue collar like metal band that just did tours to like have like a good life.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that's like, they're not like flashy or anything like that. Like, dude, blue collar job is dope. Like if you can make money like and like live your life making music, like that's it. That's like all you kind of need to do.
I like that term though, because it's so weird that we don't think of it like that. It's like when if I at least what comes to my brain when I'm like, oh, blue collar music job. It's like there are like Eli was telling me about this. There are like some sets in the Midwest where people play like 2-3 hour sets at a time. Yeah, like stuff like that, which is not like a thing in California really, but that's like a very very like a common thing like in the Midwest and in the South. Is like people will literally just like what they do as a job is they have residencies at 3 bars and they play those 3 bars every single week and they play for 3 to 4 hours for a bunch of like drunk 40-year-old millennials or whatever, and then it just is like, you know, that's like their job. It more or less is like a corporate side, and probably not corporate, but like blue collar side of the music industry in that way. And it's interesting that we don't think about bands like that if they make their living off touring. There's a lot. I know a lot of bands personally who like they make their living off like opening for other artists, like on tour and stuff. That's like how they survive, you know. Yeah. And it's like very, very much a thing. But it's so strange that we don't think about like the middle class musician anymore.
Middle class musician.
Because there is like a huge like subsection of the music industry that is just like middle class musicians. And it's interesting too because I'd ask you this because I think there's like a side of the industry that's like totally absent from the music industry, which is very interesting. I think there's like artists who like are DIY facing and DIY focused, and then there's artists who like they just are fully independent and they don't have any involvement in the traditional industry, but the average person doesn't understand the traditional industry at all, so it doesn't really matter at all. Do you think like
I get what you're saying?
Yeah, like you don't like it's kind of a choice. You don't really have to participate in like the traditional side of the music industry, I think, to a certain degree if you want to make money, because at the end of the day, like, I mean that goes for anything for that matter, but like at the end of the day, all you need is a customer. If people buy your music or buy what you're doing or buy your tickets, buy your merch, you know, they stream you will make money. At the end of the day, it's literally that simple.
Yeah, I guess if there is something that I do completely understand about major labels is that if somebody's offering you like $2 million, like take that $2 million because that's their $2 million. Like they're gonna want their $2 million back. Like they're gonna work for you. Like that's not your problem. Like that's their problem. Like oh man, we just spent $2 million, or like, you know, we just gave this teenager $2 million. Like we have to at least make like
something off it.
Yeah, exactly. Like make their money back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, and then that's how you get like a world of support. But to like talk about like just like music industry people, I think that there's like a lot of buffers in between the artist and somebody on, like, let's say on a marketing team, you know? So it's like there's like, I don't even know the person that's like running our social media or like creating our merch page, and you don't like have a lot of say or like realize like who to talk to about like, hey, can you change my Spotify photo?
Yeah.
Or like something like silly like that. You know,
it's like such a disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I've honestly never thought about that because if you're signed to a major, like there's probably like if you want to do something as minuscule as like change something on your website or change you know,
there's marketing meetings.
Yeah, that is crazy to even think about. Like it's almost like there's like a committee that will technically be deciding what happens in that action or not.
Yeah.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of like do you work with a lot of booking agents like through the shed? And when you do you just not really mention that? Like
I want to. I want to work with more and more. But yeah, I don't mention that it's in my backyard.
Because when you put it like that, you don't really have to. You just say like it's a DIY 300 cap venue space.
Yeah,
because it is
exactly. Yeah, and a lot of them like don't go to them. Whether they're like just like in the Midwest or like up north. No, like all the agents that we've worked with are like have been amazing. And it's a tough nut to crack though, like to be like taken seriously, because like dude, end of the day, like they're doing their job, like they have a job, they have like food to put on their table and stuff too, like they don't need to gamble on like a small venue like that. They've got like a set path that's like, you know, making their living. So like, just like trying to come in as something new, like that's to be taken seriously. Yeah,
that makes sense. So that third show happens, you meet Shay. How do things kind of progress from there? How do you get from that third show to like now? And also, how long ago was that? And was there a point in time where you discovered a sort of tipping point? Did you discover kind of like a turning point? When did things start feeling like more official? Right now, I mean, it to me at least, it feels like the shed is definitely in like an upswing. Do you feel that way? And how do you think you got to where you are now?
Yeah, there hasn't really been slumps. Like that's what's sweet. And so how do I feel about that now? What was the question?
When do you feel like there was like a turning point when things started feeling more and more real?
Oh yeah, once Shay got involved, and then not too long after Shay came, another like person, Patrick, who does our lighting, he came out to one of our shows because I did open mics for a really long time, or like 2001, and like was doing my like own events like that, like just, and then so one of like his best friends was a singer-songwriter, and so they came out to a show, right? And he has a production company called like Live Pros, and so he just had all these lights, same thing. He's like, I need a place to store my lights, and I was like,
just do light for the show.
I got a shed. Like, you can store them. And then he just started hooking it up, and then then the shows started to look amazing, and they just kept going up and up from there. And like actually really what made me feel like we were legit is having content to share that looked so fucking good. Like all the photographers that come through, like Lexi at Cemetery Wedding _
shout out Lexi.
Yeah, she was like the first photographer that came through and then like just made every photo look so sick. And like because it's like archways, and like honestly like people love like looking at arches. Like Renaissance photos and shit, or like photos. What am I doing? So yeah, like having this, and then working with like Full In Design for our posters. They look so sick. Like having something that you like makes it so easy to share is like really important. Like something I never really like thought about is like if our like flyer is a little off, artists aren't gonna want to share it. Like
that's very true.
So if we like have this like the sickest, most like professional looking one that they ever been on, they want to share it. They're gonna like be like, boom, check this shit out. Like we're on a shed show.
Dude, there's a lot of things like that I think one of the reasons, I guess one of the reasons where like I think something that like is really really key with your team building, it feels like, is like you're very good about like Patrick lighting, Britt admin, like, you know, Bobby booking. It's like Shay sound. It's like doing those things I think seems really 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 key. Like having that distribution of like work correctly, you know, it's where like everybody has their like, I really really think what you said, like everybody has their genius. That stuck with me a lot. That's really really cool.
Yeah, man. And like so many people get in their own way. That's like what I've like really like taken away from like all of this is like if I try to do everything, it's gonna be bad. It's not gonna be good. So like I'll focus on what I'm good at, and like everybody else gets to do that too, like because they don't want to do somebody else's thing. Like there's not a lot of communication involved. I guess is what I'm saying. It's because like I trust whatever Shay is gonna do, and I know it's gonna. I trust everything Britt's gonna do. Like I don't need to think about like any of those things. So it's really
it's
huge, really nice to have that, and like it wasn't like planned out that way or anything like
it just fell into place.
That's just fell in place. Yeah.
Gotcha. That is so sick. That Lily show that I went to, is that like one of your favorite shows at the Shed? Like, what do you think have been your favorite ones? Because that one to me was just like, wow. That was when I got it.
Yeah, that was like 280 people. Yeah. That was like with our first like our upgraded system too, where we have the two 18-inch subs stacked together, and so like man, we've never had like crowd surfers at the Shed because it's like at the end of the day it's like there's no real like stage to jump off of, like you don't really get a lot of leverage. So like the band Hormones was like, dude,
I want to show you this video I have of this set, but keep talking.
What's it called? Hormones. She was like, just asked over email, like, do you allow crowd surfing? And I'm like, yeah, like, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna be able to do that.
Like this.
Yeah, exactly. So she's on top of the subs, and then just like the gnarliest. Dang, I haven't seen that.
I'll send you this, Mario. I'm gonna text you this video right now so we can put it in.
Sick.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite videos.
This is like unbiased. I'm like, yo, what the fuck was that moment?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a moment. Yeah. And I've seen so many different videos of that, like from different angles and stuff like that, from like other people's stuff. And it's like, dude, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's so sick.
Dude, that set was so fucking cool, bro.
Yeah, it was very gnarly.
That was the first time I've seen Lily live. Oh my god, that was like, so sick. Yeah. But you're right, I totally get that moment thing. Do you think a lot of the strengths of the moment, like do you think you can have moments like that at a space that isn't just like yours, or do you think the space provides the moments?
I think the artists provide the moments. You know? Yeah. Well, it's like, I guess everything kind of goes into this like, just conditions are right.
Yeah.
I think, but like, no, man, like I remember being like a kid, and like those first concert moments, like they stick with you, dude. Like, people are gonna like, I'm like always like, man, Warped Tour 12 or like 2012. I'm like, dude, that was a fucking moment. Like, that, where were you?
No, I feel that. Yeah, there's definitely, that's a really, really cool way to put it. Like I always think with Above the Bridge shows, one of my biggest, like, most ideal things that I try to get across is always like communicating an event that feels larger than the artists. I think that's really, really important. Like having an event that feels like it's like, I didn't just go to see this random band on this random day, this random place. Like there's a rhyme and reason for all of it.
Oh man.
You know, like it feels so coordinated, and it feels so like this is an event. It's almost like I really try to think about shows in the terms of like how do people describe it? Like if someone said like I was going to this Above the Bridge show, how would they describe it from the third person? That's something I think about a lot, and I think like having those identifiable things that make it like a special night are like really, really, really key.
Man, yeah, I think I'm like I flip it, man. Like,
really?
Nothing is bigger than the artist.
Interesting.
Yeah, like that's the whole setup, is to make them look as sick as possible. Make them sound like how they sound in their head, instead of like just like some, you know.
But you don't think like have no, I totally feel you.
Or like a bad venue, like that's what I think is like really the focus of the Shed, is to blow. Like we want the artists that we like to like blow up.
Yeah.
And like if we make them look super sick now, it's gonna like, it's only gonna help.
Yeah.
You know? And it's super sick.
One thing that's like a really, really cool idea, this fly is killing me. One thing that's a really, really cool idea I think that I was thinking about recently is like the idea that maybe in 2 or 3 years there could be like shed bands, like bands that like came up.
Shed rock?
Yeah, shed rock vibes.
Yeah,
like,
dude, now garage rock is over, man.
Yeah, shed rock now. But like the idea that a band could like come out of the Shed. I always think about like, dude, I think venues are so important, not just because of what they provide, but also because of the fact that like scenes are curated through venues. I think about that all the time. I think like there has to be a centralized location for like a spark upstart of a music scene, you know?
Yeah.
And the idea that like the Shed can like be that for something is so sick, you know?
I think it just happens like naturally. Though I don't know if you can like force that kind of thing.
You can't at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think like
CBGB, I guess.
Yeah, things like that. But I think
I don't know, like many other ones.
I think like the vibe and the community based aspect of the shed is like what makes it feel that way though. Because you're right. It's not like there aren't very many other places where like you can see your favorite band. They just walk off stage and they're right there and just talking to you.
Yeah,
that's like it's so conducive to like building a really cool community of like people who really care about each other and like love this one similar thing, you know?
Yeah. Oh man, I love that stuff, but like honestly, like it's totally about the artists. Like we want the artists to like come up because it's like I think about it like a lot, like kind of like like comedy, like the comedy scene and stuff. Like there's just underdeveloped acts and then there's like developed acts that are like, you know, making a go at it, like making a career out of it. So there's just like a lot of bands that are 90% of bands are underdeveloped.
Yeah,
just like, and that's okay. Like dude, that's like that's a cool hobby. Like, you know, like you don't need to like you don't need to go as hard kind of thing. So like we really like look for that just like develop, like they just became like developed and they're gonna just like fucking rule the world. And it's so fucking sick to see. Like I love like being like a cheerleader for like all like the Toxhards, like Toxhards for sure, dude. And Lily, like dude, no, I'm the Grave Secrets, Cherry Domingo, like I just love it. It's like so innate. Like I just want to help.
Yeah, that is so cool. Do you think from that reason, if artist development is something you're so passionate about, would you ever transition the shed into like, I don't want to say a label, but maybe some form of that, a management company, a label, a like, you know, pseudo label development, whatever? I know you're doing some management right now, I believe, right? You're helping out with some management.
Yeah.
Is that through the shed or is that?
No, that's not through the shed.
That's just through you.
Just through me. I don't know. It's tricky because it's a space. So it's like, I don't know if like whenever we do shows outside of the shed, that's even weirder because like it's got our logo on it and it's the shed, but it's at Genghis Cohen or it's like at the Magic Factory. So like it's a weird brand.
You guys have done that before, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We do that for hardcore shows.
Okay. Why just hardcore shows?
You
can't do them there.
Yeah, you just can't do them at the shed.
Yeah.
We're figuring it out. We had Manners and we've had Love Letter.
Love Letter rips,
dude. So sick. So we are figuring it out. Like, definitely telling them to like. This is like another thing with like the shed too is like the reverb. Everybody like plays too loud in it.
Yeah.
And so it's like we sound check every band. We give them like 15 minutes to like literally like dial in everything. Like we're not shy to say like please stop hitting so hard. Like you don't need to like make like
it's loud.
Overextend yourself, you know? Or like exactly, like overextend yourself. Like you can like relax a little bit. And then what's it called? Where was I going with that? Dang, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
Yeah, you were saying like sound overextending themselves, hardcore bands.
Oh, right. So the hardcore bands, Manners and Love Letter. Like, I actually saw Love Letter do this first, where he literally put like double the amount of space. Like he didn't like have like the mic like his like mouth on the mic
just to yell,
dude. And it's like it fucking rips, dude, because it's like, and you're not like projecting your screaming, you're just like turning up the volume on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like instead of like,
that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, using a microphone as an instrument.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
no, totally.
Yeah, so it's been working and like it really like contains the screams into the shed instead of like bringing it out because like screaming's like not okay. Like, in the neighborhood. Like we did one and then like that brought like the quickest complaint of like shut it down.
How have you got around like the complaints and stuff outside of like the like have you like pitched with the neighbors and like figured that stuff out more, or like are they like cool with it? Like,
I always like consider them first. I put so much thought and attention into it just to make it work, and it does work, even though I do get like those text messages from time to time. But it's walking around with decibel meters. It's like figuring out the proper speaker placement so it doesn't leak out into, you know, the neighborhood. It's ending at 10 o'clock. It's
like sharp, huh?
Sharp, so sharp to where it's like we've like
cut people off.
Yeah, and then that breaks my heart.
That sucks.
Like, actually, we've never cut a mic.
Yeah.
But there's like a couple times it's gone over like 20 minutes, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, like we can't. Like.
Yeah, we have to.
That sucks because it's like you have to do it, and like you doing it is for the greater good of like
the
venue. And
that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what a lot of people like don't understand is like, I know actually, and you make like 100 people, 150 people like instantly mad at you.
Yeah,
because they want one more song, and I'm like, no, you can't.
We can't. Sorry.
We can't do that. Yeah, and then they're like booing you, and you're like, all right, thanks, dude.
You're in my house, dog.
No, I just can't give anybody an excuse to stop this.
Yeah. That's true.
I gotta like play by the rules that have been working.
That's a good point, I guess, because like if you did give them an excuse to stop, they will stop it.
Yeah.
But it's like at a certain point they can only do so much if you're acting legally.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. This is America.
Yeah.
And like, that's another thing is like, don't tell me what I can't do in my backyard.
Yeah.
Like the fuck.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah. Sorry.
What
Keep Brandon going.
No, you're good. Outside of that Lily show, are there any other really, really big shows that come to mind that like were definitely huge moments for the Shed?
Oh yeah, dude. Honey Revenge. That was like the first like amazing. That's where I was like, oh my god, we have something.
What happened? Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's where I was like, oh man, this is like legit. And then we had Chase Petra play with Cherry Domingo and Crossing Eyes, Dying Tees, and Mini Shopping Cart. And that show was so sick.
Yeah.
That was like everything. Oh yeah, and then we had Honey Revenge again for a Christmas show, and that's when we like that was the first show with the lights.
Yeah.
And that just made it look like so crazy.
Yeah. That's so sick, dude. Yeah. That Lily one, it's just ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, nice, dude. Yeah, that one was super sick.
Did you, when you were growing up, were you like in music circles? Were you in the music scene as a kid? Like how did you first get into it at this level where you wanted to work in the music industry?
I skated a lot, so like watching skate videos, like they just always had the dopest music, and so I would like write down the music at the end of like in the credits, and then go for like, and then go find those, and then just like rip it off of like LimeWire.
Yeah.
And so I was like just listening to everything. Like I don't know, it was weird. But then like I was also in choir in like high school, so that's when I started like playing guitar and so singing and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always had like an affinity for like music.
When did you start going to shows? Like were you going to a lot of shows when you were younger?
I don't know. I think I was kind of a late bloomer, honestly. Like I think I started like I didn't go to my first show until I was like 17.
Gotcha.
Something like that. Yeah. And then it was like Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Like, through and through for the most part.
It was like that first one ignited everything, and then you just kept going back to stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then like getting into internships like got me into shows for free.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I love not like I hate going to shows where I have to pay.
I feel that.
Yeah, I start second guessing myself. That sounds like so snobby, but
once it begins, it's hard to go back.
Well, yeah, no,
that's
dude,
how I feel.
Yeah.
What did you so when you started doing that, right, when you were just going to shows as a kid, when do you think you first realized that like the music industry was something you wanted to go into?
I love like small businesses. Like I always have like, man, that's so cool. How are you doing that? Like, man, what's the future like? Like, what are you gonna do next? Like, or like you see like a cool brand and you're like, dang, I see where that's going. I see what they're trying to do. Like, bet I could help. Like, figure out like different ways. Like, I love that so much. I love like calling it really early with like bands like they're gonna blow up, and then like you see like 3 years later, 4 years, or like then you're like, dang, dude, so
I knew it.
I was right. Yeah, exactly. I love that. And so it was like a mixture of, also, this is stupid, but I loved getting into the backstage area of Warped Tour, like by any means necessary, to where I would just sneak in. Like, that's like instead of free shows, I was sneaking into a lot of shows. Like I'm like the best at it. It's a
how would you do it? What are the secrets?
Bro, I'm a tall white male. Like, dude, like I just keep my chin up and I'm just like
walk through confidently.
Yes, but also this is like the best move. I've done this like so many times where it's like you kind of walk with urgency and then you go to the person and you're like just, you know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Like,
Him like the
yeah, like I just got to get through here. Like, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah,
I swear,
won't
it's
ask
the
why.
weirdest. Yeah, exactly. Like nobody's gonna stop you. Like whoa. And you're like, oh, just gotta.
Yeah, like who the fuck are you? What are you doing?
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, that's so crazy, bro. I think if you have enough blind confidence, you can do almost anything.
Blind confidence. Yeah, best way to like put that. Yeah.
You just run at walls and they'll fall down.
Yeah, just make it look like you're supposed to be there.
One of the first shows that I ever like really fell in love, like that made me fall in love with live music, was I snuck into Outside Lands when I was 16 years old.
See, that's dope, dude.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Like when it's like I'm a late bloomer. Like,
yeah,
that's some gnarly stuff, dude.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, I wasn't that much younger than you. I was like 16, I think. I was probably almost 17.
I love that.
Yeah, but that was like I snuck in. I just like waited outside for somebody to like come through. It was like leaving for the day or whatever, and I was like, yo, can I like have your wristband, because they were leaving it. And then I took the wristband, and you obviously you can't do it twice, but I just walked through and I just kind of like pretended to put mine underneath somebody else's, like because they have like a scan thing, and like they don't like there's the line is so long.
Oh, because you can't scan it twice.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And the line is so long, it's not like they're waiting for like one person to go. It's kind of just like walk through and put your thing on top of this little scan pad as you walk by.
Yeah.
And I just kind of did it and put it under somebody else's, and they didn't even notice.
That's smart.
I have a friend who
I love stuff like that.
Yeah. I have a friend who did the same thing, and they like made a wristband themselves. They like painted it.
Dude, I bet you could do selling like bootleg.
Yeah.
Like that'd be funny, dude.
Have you read into any people trying to sneak into shed shows? There's no way, right?
No.
They're too cheap.
It's like pretty narrow entry too.
Yeah.
But no, like, yeah, we've never had like any kind of like people rushing in. Or, like, yeah, no, it's always been like very cool.
Have you guys had to like find out a way to like keep them safe, like in terms of like security and stuff, or is it just like you just kind of?
Yeah, there's security. Dude, like, no, actually, like, yeah. So everybody's very cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to like fuck around, really.
Yeah.
Those are the people that come out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no knuckleheads.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of people. And then, like, our ticket prices at the door are very cheap. So, it's not, it's not too bad.
I feel like people have had, like, weird misconceptions about that with DIY stuff. Like, I do think if you, like, there is a level of, like, if you trust in the audience will trust in you. It's almost like you respect them, they respect you kind of thing at a certain point, I feel like.
And, like, this is, like, a little thing, but we have, like, Meg is Britt's partner, and she runs the door, but she's just the sweetest person. Yeah. Like, the nicest person in real life. Or, like, so she's just very welcoming, and, like, we're all just, like, right from the start, like, hey, like, welcome, like, smiling, you know? Yeah. Which is, like, kind of rare. I don't know. So, like, a smile makes a smile. I think, like, just from the, like, beginning, like, everybody has, like, a really nice, like, surprise.
Yeah.
Or, like, they're like, oh, wow, this is nice.
It's a lot harder to do wrong people who are, like, outwardly nice to you. I think about that a lot. I think it's very disarming. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think if you're, like, just outwardly kind to everybody, like, it's almost... you gotta be a special kind of like a shitbag to like fuck with somebody who's like outwardly nice to you for like no reason, you know? Yeah. No. That's weird. Do you like feel like the shed is like a DIY spot? Like, do you still call it DIY? Do you resonate with that? Do you think there's like misconceptions with that or no? Okay. Yeah, I know there are like different levels, you know? Like there's definitely like parking lot shows, like, and you throw up your own speakers on like, yo, that's fucking DIY. Yeah. Yeah, it's still in my backyard. It's like still like all kind of like thrown together with duct tape. And yeah, all the bands like for the most part are like unsigned. Like, I don't know. Yeah. That shit's so cool, dude. I feel like it's weird that people like, I don't know, like we're doing it ourselves. Yeah, I've always found like the label of it so strange that people are like, this is DIY. It's like I never know if like people like almost claim it too hard that's not that anymore. It's strange, you know? But it's like I feel like something like the shed is just so entirely like, I think what makes something DIY versus it not being is like the barrier of entry to meeting the person who is like responsible for you being there. Oh, weird. You know, that's always what I've thought about. Like, that's kind of like the tier level in my head. It's like, someone could walk to any shed show and you were just like walking around, kicking it and like talking to people and shit.
Yeah, I always got stuff to do.
Yeah, you're always like,
running around. No, but like, you know, like a real like, what's it called? I admire what the smell has always done.
Yeah.
And like smell is a perfect example of like what I look at in terms of like what I want to model.
Yeah.
And that is like, besides being volunteer based, like that's super sick. Like we actually, like our whole ethos is like, no, everybody gets paid. Like,
yeah,
plain simple. And so we're not like volunteer run, but in terms of like having a venue, having like ticket sales in advance, like having like a bathroom. I don't know, dude. Like that's DIY. That's DIY as fuck. Even though they've got the most disgusting bathroom ever. I don't even know why I said that.
It's pretty clean.
No, dude, it is not. Dude, wild.
I feel like whenever I've been in there, it's been kind of clean.
Dang, impressive.
I love that.
Bad nights, I guess. Yeah.
I think also that like that lack of barrier to like understand the people who put this together and to also just like speak to them. I think that is really like how you grow a community around something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that on the internet as much. I think like going to the shed is what makes you want to come back to the shed. Interestingly enough.
I really hope like, yeah, I think like,
have you begun to see like a lot of people start returning to shows and stuff?
Yeah. And I'm always like
regulars.
When like we don't keep like oh god, I hate places that like keep a tally of like who you're here to see.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
And so we don't do that. Like but we do ask like, hey, like who'd you come out here to see? And it's really nice when they're like
the shed.
Just like, yeah, we're just like, you guys just have cool music. And like that's where I'm like, hell yeah, dude, it's working.
That is so hard to do. That is, can you like props for that, man? That's so awesome you've done that, because that is like
just
the
good music.
Hardest thing to do. It's to like get people to like trust you as a tastemaker, I think, and like trust you as a tastemaker, but also just like trust your environment and like the thing that you've curated, because it's a lot easier to do that for a band, but it's like I think you doing that is like indicative of like where things are going, you know?
Yeah, I just love shit. Like I love fun shit.
Yeah,
I want to do fun shit, and like people, oh man, like literally, that's kind of what it comes like down to is like, I know a lot of people that come to our shows don't know like the band beforehand.
Yeah,
and
I almost never do.
Really? Yeah.
And I just
thank
come.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like that's so fucking sick. Like that's kind of like, yeah, that's dope, dude. I love that. And like, yeah, Lily's like was a like really good example of that too. Like there were a lot of people that I'm like that come out to shed shows, but then like they were like, I have no idea. Same with like Chase Petra, and then they're like, this is my favorite band now. Like,
yeah,
Trade Me Go, and like, that's super sick. Especially with the photographers that come through. Like I've got like, yeah, there's like 6 or like so like of my favorite photographers that come through and make everybody look sick. And it's amazing that like once they like shoot the band, and they always look super fucking legendary, and then they start working with them like like almost like instantly, and it's like so sick. It's so sick to see stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, I think of that all the time. I mean, like I always feel like you see that board over there, that whiteboard. That's like how I see above the bridge and like all the bubbles that kind of go into it, and the middle says community, and I kind of think of community like that. I think of like extending olive branches to people, and then like when you extend those, they extend to people you've also met, and it's like curating. That's kind of what I was talking about with like the value of a physical space, right? It's like you have a place where people can go and meet their best friend. Like that is so valuable, bro. Like one of my dreams, I say this all the time, is like I want it to get to the point where people like are falling in love at Above the Bridge shows, or like are meeting their best friends at Above the Bridge shows. And I feel like the shed is like getting to that place where it's like,
that's beautiful.
It's just so cool to me, man. They're like, I don't know, there's not a lot of spaces like that where it can be like, this is like a place I can go. It feels like it's from a different time. It feels like you go through a portal. It's so sick.
Reach out if that moment's happened at the shed. Hit me up. I'd love to know about that stuff. That's beautiful.
That's so sick, man. But last thing I'll ask you, through like this journey of like building this, from like those first shows to get, actually real quick before I ask you that, just because this popped in my head, how long has it been now? Like,
so we just celebrated our 2-year last month. So
okay, sweet.
We just started like our 3rd year.
Gotcha. Okay, so within those like 2.1 years, what do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned? Like, what do you think is the biggest overarching thing that you've learned from being such a big part in curating this community.
Dude, let people do what they love to do and get out of their way. Like, give them the space to do it. Like, and if it does, like, if you want to do something and, like, you want to do it, like, here or, like, with me or, like, anything, like, I'm there to, like, totally help you, like, take over, like, do it. Like, I'm not going to be, like, over your shoulder kind of thing. Like, I want to see, like, what you envision, like, what, you know? Does that make sense? Yeah, so just trusting people, like, give them a piece of it.
Give them, like, room to grow. Yeah. Give them a piece of it's a really cool idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, that feels very, like, we're in this together, you know?
Yeah.
It's like binding.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
No, because it's like, yeah, so many sick things, and like so many thick, or what's it called? I don't know where I heard this quote recently, but it was like, shit. It's like Skunk Works was like this like aerospace company, and like they were like making like warplanes and shit like that, but it's like, or like supersonic, like Lockheed SR-71, and like. It was like amazing things can happen when nobody needs to take credit for it. So, like, I don't know. I just really like that. Like, if like pride and like ego gets out of the way, like, dude, so many sick things can happen. Like, doesn't matter about like credit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I love that, man. Let your ego get out of the way.
Yeah.
It can change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby. Glad you're my friend. Love what you built. It's really, really fucking sick. It's been really cool getting to know you, and I'm really happy we did this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Honor, dude. Actually, like, yeah. This table's legendary, dude.
Thank you, man.
Much.
Yeah, thank you, dude. I love what you build. Very inspiring to me. It, like, reinvigorates my love for a lot of this shit, and it's really beautiful to see, and I think this is... If I was a betting man, I would bet this is only the beginning of what will come at the shed. So I'm very excited.
Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is fucking dope.
Hell yeah. Of course, brother. Tell them where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can come to a show at the shed, where they can do all the stuff.
Just follow us on Instagram, at Shred at the Shed. Shred at the Shed.
Such a sick at.
Yeah, yeah. The shed was taken.
And, and then is there anything coming up that's in the works that they should be aware of?
Just keep an eye out.
Sweet.
Yeah, we've got stuff in the works.
Hell yeah. Sick. All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. All right.
Love you, Dante.
Love you too, man. Music matters.